Hello, students, wishing you a wonderful day. Today we are going to do Chapter 6 Poets and Pancakes by Ashok Mitran from your Class 12 English textbook Flamingo. Author Ashok Mitran was the pen name of Jagadasya Thagarajan, an Indian writer regarded as one of the most influential figures in post-independent Tamil literature. He began his prolific literary career with the prize-winning play Anban Parayasu and went on to author more than 200 short stories and a dozen novellas and novels, a distinguished essayist and critic. He was the editor of the literary journal Khania Yazi. He has written over 200 short stories, 8 novels, and some 15 novellas, besides other prose writings. Most of his works have also been translated into English and other Indian languages, including Hindi, Malayalam, and Telugu. Ashok Mitran, a Tamil writer, recounts his years of Gemini Studios in his book My Years with Boss, which talks about influence of movies on every aspect of life in India. The Gemini Studios, located in Chennai, was set up in 1940. It was one of the most influential film producing organizations of India in the early days of Indian filmmaking. Its founder was S.S. Vasan. The duty of Ashoka Mitran in Gemini Studios was to cut out newspaper clippings on a wide variety of subjects and store them in files. Many of these had to be written out by hand, although he performed an insignificant action. He was the most well informed of all the members of the Gemini family. The following is an excerpt from his book My Years with Boss. Introduction of the chapter. For nearly 30 years, from 1940, the Gemini Studios at Madras, Chennai was the most influential film producing organization of India, and its producer, the brilliant, multifaceted entrepreneur S.S. Vasan, lent substance and quality to rather fragile and unpredictable movie business. The Gemini emblem of two small boys with buggles was true to Vasan's slogan for the studios. When the buggles blow, there is a great show. Gemini Films entertained millions all over India and abroad. Sahitya Akademi award-winning Tamil writer Ashoka Mitran worked for Gemini Studios from 1952 to 1966, a full 20 years after he renounced films. Editor Pritish Nandi persuaded Ashok Mitran to record his reminiscences, and the result was series of articles making up My Years with Boss. The book covers only 5 of his 14 years with the studios, but captures that phase of Indian movie business when the key factors of the box office were imperceptibly shifting from studios to the stars. My Years with Boss is one of the most unusual books to be written about entertainment world. Clearly indicates the enormous impact of the movies on virtually every aspect of life in India. The author's ability to capture the life, breadth of people and events, his puckish narrative, make this a brief but special book of film history. Talking about the title of the chapter, Poets and Pancakes. Poets here are lyricists, scriptwriters, and storytellers, and Pancakes is a brand name of makeup material which was used in Gemini Studios. A pancake makeup is the trademark name held by the Noxil Corporation for a cosmetic face powder that has been compressed into cake and is applied as a makeup base with damp sponge. An example of pancake makeup is the foundation that an actress puts on while getting made up for a performance. All these wonderful actresses, Greta Garbo, Miss Gauhar, Vijayanti Mala, Rati Agnihotri, had got mention in this chapter. That all these beautiful and wonderful women applied loads of pancake to look good on screen. In those days, most of the film shooting was done in indoors. Only 5% was done outdoors. So, to have good effects, loads of makeup was used on the faces of actors and actresses. Writer even says that this makeup on faces of actors and actresses was to make them ugly, but it really gave good effects on screen. Students, this is the emblem of Gemini Studios. I'm not sure if many of you are familiar with this, but you can check with your parents or grandparents. Maybe they are familiar with this emblem, and they will be able to tell you once they saw this emblem on screen, there was an expectation of a great show ahead. Students, we will be one by one going through the contents given here to have a better understanding about the chapter before we actually begin the detailed explanation from the textbook. In the beginning, first of all, writer gives us description of makeup department of Gemini Studios. This makeup department is small and clumsy, and there are incandescent lighting. There's so many lights. Actors there are sitting with loads of makeup on their faces. They're feeling so miserable because they already have their faces caked with this makeup, and then there are there are so many lights there emitting a lot of heat. But there are variety of people in makeup department, and initially makeup department was headed by a Bengali, then a Maharashtrian, and then Daravar Kannadiga, and then somebody from Andhra, and a Madras Indian Christian, and then Anglo Burmese, and other usual local Tamils. So you could see people from all over the places there. So many people giving us an example of national integration. It was long before Indian radio started giving programs on national integration. You could actually see it in the studios. And there was another thing which was quite visible in this makeup department was a hierarchy system. In hierarchy system, what they had actually here was that chief makeup man, he will do the makeup of lead actor and actresses. He had then assistants. His first assistant will do makeup for his other actor, second actor and actresses, and then his second assistant will do makeup of comedians, and the crowd even they had to have makeup which was done by office boy. This hierarchy was strictly maintained in makeup department. Now, office boy, he was not a boy anymore. He was man in his 40s. Actually, he had joined Gemini Studios as a teenager, and he was the most frustrated one at the studios. He wanted to be an actor, director, producer, and he had that qualification. He had that capability, but he was not able to achieve his dreams. His dreams remained unfulfilled, and that led to lot of frustration, lot of anger in office boy. And now, as I've told you before also about Ashok Mitran, the author of this chapter, Poet and Pancakes, the author's job at studios was to collect newspaper cuttings and file them. And he was one of the staff whose job was basically collecting information such as news event from newspapers, magazines to paste them in files. The other staff considered his job out of place, and most of them thought so high of themselves. And here are some interesting facts of staff of GS. What they thought, that whenever they were feeling frustrated, they could simply barge into his cubicle and like vomit out all their frustration there. And usually even office boy, he would often get into his room because he thought that Ashoka Mitran, his job was very useless, he was not doing anything there, and he would often express his anguish and his frustration there.